much for coming to our first board game meeting. You guys are now proud members of We Are Bored. All right. So, for our first board game that we're going to go ahead and present for this class today, it's going to be something that is going to involve camouflage and concealing your identity. By show of hands, who here thinks that they have a good poker face? All right, good. That will be very helpful in this game. And speaking of poker, does anybody know the #1 rule of poker? No? It's to always keep your opponent guessing. Okay? And that's exactly what you're going to want to apply when you're playing this game. What game are we going to be playing today? Well, that will be the Chameleon. Some of you guys might know it. It's a pretty popular game. One of my personal favorites. For starters, how do you play the Chameleon? First of all, each round you'll be given a topic card. And on the topic card, it'll give you different sort of items or examples of whatever it is on the topic. There are two different types of players in this game. There is, majority of players are going to be regular players who have a code card. And the other people, well, one person really, is going to be the Chameleon. It is the job of the people with the code card to try to find out who the Chameleon is, and it is the job of the Chameleon to trick the others to think that they are someone with a code card. Now, how do we find what word we're going to start with? That is done with a roll of dice. So, the people who are regular players, they have the code card, which they can decipher what these dice mean. Unlike the Chameleon card just tells them that they're the Chameleon, which is not helpful for the code. So they don't have any insight on what the code is yet. They have to be intuitive in the future. So at the beginning of the round, after you roll, players with the code card, they will decipher what it means, which you can go to the column 2, since that's what we rolled, and then you can go down on the octahedron to 7, which is A3. So the code for this is going to be A3. Refer to the topic card. Go to the column A and go down to the row 3. This round is going to be, the topic is going to be eggs. So every person who has a code card will know the topic, unlike the Chameleon. Chameleon will not. So, for starters, when you start around after people become familiarized with the code, they will spend a little bit of time to think about what relates to the code. So, for example, if the code this round is chicken, people might want to, the players, they don't want the Chameleon to know what the code is, so they will use describing factors to make the other players with the codes know what the code is without giving it away to the Chameleon. So you want to be sort of abstract with your adjectives compared to being specific, because if you're too specific, the Chameleon will be able to know, and if the Chameleon knows, they can be able to win the game, which you don't want that. So the goal is to kind of, if you have a code card, to not be too specific and not too vague. So as people may be, the normal players, as they are listing words describing, for example, chicken, you might say something like fried or farm. And maybe the Chameleon, they don't know what it is, or they haven't been intuitive enough at this point. They might say something like tasty. Tasty is a very vague example, You wouldn't want to say tasty because that's subjective, and you can say that about any food item. Meanwhile, if you say like farm or fried, I mean, there's at least a couple of options that you can choose from. Like you can fry chicken, you can fry cheese. I guess I think that's some places I've actually heard that. You can fry fish, so something like that, or maybe something more big would be a better alternative. Same thing with the farm animal. So, after every person has had their turn saying the word, you move on to the next stage, which the next stage is the debating stage, where everybody talks amongst each other to figure out who the chameleon is. If the chameleon did a good job, then they will have used a term that is quite specific so that other people think that a regular player is the chameleon. So you, as a chameleon, you want to be really good at reading what other people are saying and be intuitive about it. Meanwhile, with what I was saying about the poker skill, you're going to want to apply that when you are the chameleon, because that will allow you to seem like you know what the code is. So it makes you seem like you know that the code is chicken for this round, which would be really good. So after you talk amongst your players, the next part of this round will commence, which is the voting round, where on the count of 3, everybody will point at who they think that the chameleon is. And so you would go 1, 2, 3, and you would point at them. And if a non-player has the most votes, then that means that the chameleon wins and they escape, which is awesome for them. They did a great job. But if the chameleon was a little bit too big and they got caught at the beginning, then they will get the most votes. And if they get the most votes, they can redeem themselves by going ahead and figuring out and saying what they think the topic is for the round. And if they guess the right topic, then the chameleon actually wins and can redeem themselves and it escapes. But if the chameleon gets it wrong, then the other players, the normal players, will win. So, yeah, go ahead and get into groups. You guys will probably love this game, maybe even more than I had myself. If you guys enjoyed enough, you can go ahead and stop by the front where we are actually selling extra copies of Chameleon. Yeah, go ahead and have fun. Get into groups. See ya.